It's three guys who combined to play 15 seasons in the National Football League trenches. Well, two guys. And Mackey, who didn't do shit. This is the O-Line Committee.
Where your dumb football questions are always welcome in the YouTube comment section. If you haven't already, maybe you're new to the O-Line Committee. This is an offensive line lifestyle podcast. Jeremiah Sirles, Alex Boone, a decade and a half in the NFL trenches. Phil Mackey. I quit football after 8th grade because there was too much running involved. But click that subscribe button and the like button on the YouTube channel. Help us spread the word here.
Mackey, you were what we use in the scouting world as lost at birth. Right, it's a very scientific scouting term that we use, which is, man, guy's a good player. He just lost at birth.
It's terrible, man. He's feisty.
It's so bad, dude. But I wish I could tell you the amount of times scouts have used that term to be like, oh man, this guy's got a high motor, all the intangibles there, but 6'1", 31-inch arms, lost at birth.
Boy, I wish I was 6'1" with 31-inch arms. 5'7" with 16.5-inch arms.
Yeah, 16.5 inch.
5-inch hands.
Oh yeah.
What am I supposed to do with
somebody open this jar of mayonnaise for me?
Easy.
All right, let's get. I'm gonna throw some. Dude, the Will Levis Mayo commercials could not have been more poorly timed.
They're
great commercials, but wow.
Yeah. It's like, Will Levis threw another pick, and it just cuts to him just squirting mayonnaise.
Just rubbing it right on them.
All over his body. Oh, man. All right, I'm going to throw a few dumb football questions at you guys, and then we'll get to the audience questions. So, the Detroit Lions were getting absolutely smoked on Sunday Night Football. 5 interceptions from Jared Goff. They overcome all of it. The kicker winds up barely sneaking 2 50-plus yard field goals in to tie in the win.
Did you see how fucking tight that was? Oh,
both of them. So the Lions sneak it back, and then the Chiefs, the Broncos were lining up for a game-winning chip shot, like under 40 yards, and the Chiefs block the field goal.
Leo
as
Chanel,
time expires,
baby.
Man.
Chanel,
Listen. You are all dumber for still thinking that they're not going to win. What?
I'm not. Oh my God! Dude.
You are.
Talk about words.
You're going to come at me like. By the way, do you still feel like the Lions are the best team in the league right now?
Well, that's Mike. Let me ask my dumb question. Who's the better team, the Lions or the Chiefs after yesterday? Let's relitigate this.
I'm still going to say the Chiefs because they still have one very special player on their team that just knows how to dink and dunk his way down there. I'm sorry. And
hold on, let's talk about this before we get. People are asking me, how does one block a field goal? Right. So let's look at it. Can you see this? Can everyone see?
Yeah.
Oh wow, you're popping up the film here. Okay.
Of course. So I'll tell you this right now. This position over here on the left side of the screen, the end position, is the absolute worst position on the field goal block team of all time. The coaching point in the meeting rooms is take one for the team and die a slow death, right? So what you're supposed to do is take that inside foot, step up with a power step, and open hinge with this back foot here and just wear it. What you're not supposed to do is this. This is what you're not supposed to do. Fix it, Jesus, right? Like, you're not supposed to just take a step and just fall on your ass. Like, that's...
See how he gets tripped, though? That's his problem is you're supposed to put your second foot down before you make contact with your wing, because if you don't, you're going to for sure trip over him because there's 3 fucking guys pushing you. Dude. I know. I agree. It's so bad.
What's even better about this is go back to talk about coaching and whatnot. Leo Chanel talked about all week that this is where they wanted to attack because he's been put on his ass multiple times this year, right? Look at his head snap. Like that's a fail video, dude. But yeah, how it happens, right? So that's how you lose football games. But how the Chiefs can just continue to have the golden horseshoe shoved directly up their asshole is incredible.
I love how bitter you are about
sensitive.
The whole thing.
Hit him right now.
I'm not sensitive. I feel bad for my dad. My dad is just the biggest Bronco fan. Like, he doesn't want to watch other games. He's not a red zone guy. Like, he comes to my house to watch his red zone. He's like, what are we doing? Right? He just wants to sit down and just watch the game in its entirety. And so we're watching the Broncos game, right? I have it on, and I text him, and I was like, unreal. That's all I said. And he goes, don't tell me I'm in the second quarter. And I was like,
Oh, no.
I was like, okay, call me later. And then like an hour and a half later, I just get a text. It's just a bunch of expletives. And he's like, I don't understand.
So wait. Let me ask you this. Because he didn't know why you were texting him.
That's why I'm always I know sometimes he's got like church or something he goes to in the morning, so he can't start it on time. And so he sits in his room and he fast forwards through the commercials because he just wants to watch it live.
But I wonder, is he sitting there thinking to himself as they're lining up for the game-winning field goal, wait, Jay texted me unreal.
Is this what he meant by unreal?
Did that already happen, or am I waiting for the unreal right now on this particular play?
Yeah, no, I felt so bad. I mean, my dad just wants the Broncos to win so bad. Like, that's just what he wants, man. And they had him by the balls.
They were so close, dude.
They were right there. And just, gosh damn it.
You're not kidding about that lucky horseshoe. It's straight up Patrick Mahomes' ass. And
it's
it is shining in front of the whole world. I'm not even kidding you. Even Johnny was walking around the house because he was like, you really think they're going to win? I go, dude, do you not know who this kid is? He's like the son of the savior, bro. Like, he's going to be fine. They're going to find a way. It got blocked. I think he threw something across the room and walked out. I was like, welcome to my life as a Cleveland Browns fan. You're welcome. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but at the same time, listen, people, and I know, are wondering why am I so big on Patrick Mahomes. I'm big on him because he makes shit happen. And I just don't see enough people like that in this league. So I will root as hard as I can. It's the same reason I root for the Lions. They work their ass off to be a gritty team. It's who they are. It's their identity. They've built it up over years and years and years. And yes, Jeremiah, when they meet in the Super Bowl, we are going to be in the same room because we are watching that game together live. It's going to be fucking explosive. Well, and I mean... whoa, get ready, y'all.
And another thing, too, is my dad, he calls me. He's super upset, right? And he goes, are you seeing what I'm seeing? I go, what are you seeing, Dad? Please tell me. He's like, Mahomes is getting a lot of calls, right? Like, like it's starting to go down. He's like, I don't know. I want to, you know, it just seems like every single time he's getting bailed out. And then he pulled up like, you know, there's that stat where he's had more interceptions called back in the last 2 years than Brady had his entire career, right? Like I don't know. And I go back to, you know, Wayne Gretzky got the calls. Michael Jordan got the calls. There is something to be said when you're the GOAT of the league and you're the face of the league. The refs are going to protect you. They're going to.
But if your left guard doesn't get blown off the line of scrimmage on a chip shot field goal attempt.
I know.
The Broncos
that's the whole point.
But that's where they
like,
just tug on the little golden horseshoe.
No, stop. Because you're like Johnny. As soon as it happened, Johnny goes, it's scripted. I knew it. It's scripted. I go, Johnny, nobody told that end
special teams
to fall flat on the back of his ass. Because I'll tell you what, when it comes to meeting time on Monday, guess whose ass is going to get pulled right open in front of the whole fucking team. Dude, that's one of those highlights where that clip that you just saw, it's the first like that where it was paused in the beginning. You'll walk into the team room and be like, I knew it.
It's right there. It's on the screen as the meeting's about to start.
We're all going to have to watch this. And then he'll just be like, I knew we thought these meetings were fuck around meetings. I knew we thought special teams was a joke. Let's all watch why they're not.
Dude, that's the kind of play. That's the kind of play where the entire ride on the plane ride home, on when you go home and lay your head on the pillow on Sunday night, you don't sleep. You wake up in the morning, you don't eat. Like, you don't do anything in your life until you get through that meeting.
He probably it's 1:45 and they're an hour behind us. They probably haven't even gotten out of meetings. He probably hasn't taken a breath since that field goal got blocked. And I'm not even fucking kidding you. Because I've seen guys be that stupid before. And the plane ride home where Jeremiah's like, you're not even looking up. You're almost staring at the back of the headrest. Because you're like, please God, don't make eye contact with anyone.
That's the TikTok meme where it's like raw dog the flight home. Like, yeah, dude, just watch the flight tracker back to Denver.
Straight from Europe, doesn't matter.
No headphones, nothing. You just watch that flight tracker and count down the minutes till that team meeting.
I probably would have walked by and like spilled a Sprite on his lap. Dickhead.
So here's the Chiefs' schedule at Buffalo.
Cannot wait for that. Cannot wait.
And then at Carolina, home against Vegas. Home against the Chargers on Sunday night, at Cleveland, home against Houston on Sunday night, at Pittsburgh, at Denver. Are they going undefeated or no?
No, it's too hard in a 17-game
I bet the Chargers beat
season.
them. I bet you the Chargers will beat them.
And honestly, I think it'll be good for them to lose one.
Yeah, because
as bad as that is to say, losing a game, like losing a game kind of a reset. I think back to when we got beat in 2017. Did the Colts come in and beat us, or someone beat us late in the year, and it snapped like a 9-game win streak or something like that, and it was a good reset for everyone, right? Because you can start to feel pretty good about yourself, right?
Yeah.
And because when you're winning, and everyone says like the film's never as good as you think it is, it's never as bad as you think it is. But when you're winning, you're kind of like, we won. Who cares? Who cares? When you lose that one game, it really brings you back down to earth of like, man, those plays matter. And as we get further into November and further into December, into January, those 1, 2, 3 plays in the game truly matter. So I think they probably drop 1, maybe 2 if they rest guys at the end, if they know they've got the AFC locked up and if they keep going here. But I just don't think anyone's really ever going to go undefeated again with 17 games, man. That is just a grind.
I agree with you on that too, especially because could you imagine by the end of the year going into the playoffs not having lost and being like, well, boy, this is going to be interesting because now you know everyone's watching you and you're like, shit, dinking and dunking your way all the way down there. But more importantly, the Lions, I'm starting to see what you see, Jay. Like to overcome 5 turnovers. That's a lot.
That's crazy.
That's insane. You have no idea. You get normally on average like 9 to 11 drives in a game. You gave them the ball 5 of those, and we're like, here, you go. And not only that, but the field position that you gave them the ball. And that's where I'm like, all right, I see what you're saying, and I'll give them a 1B at this point, but I cannot put them at 1A when 15 is still running around that field. I'm sorry, Jay, but I agree.
Missing
Dude,
Taylor Decker,
so fun to watch.
Missing Taylor Decker, right? Dan Skipper,
which, by the way,
in,
Skipper, tuck your goddamn jersey in, okay?
No,
you got it all tucked up, and he's got these rib fucking flap jacket, dude. Where are my old school neck rolls?
He's 6'10". Those shoulder pads come down to like top of his nipples, dude. He's got to protect them ribs.
Fuck, did you just say?
Gotta protect them ribs.
Oh, you are such.
You gonna yell at Trent Williams for his back flap?
I would never talk about back flap. A rib protector, a rib
Williams?
You know
What
why he
brand
wears
of
that?
flap
Because
is
he's
that?
downfield, and I get it. I've been speared a few times, and it hurts. But the rib protector,
Did he plays tight end most of his time? Most of his time, he's a tight end.
Tucked in though. We got that tucked in. Like,
Anyways,
hey, I will say this too. Panay Sewell. Oh my god,
so good. Right, so you missed Decker.
But dude, I love how they just keep pulling him over and over. Like, you know what? You can't fucking stop this freight train. We're just going to keep running. But Jahmyr Gibbs, by the way, can we fire Tannenbaum? The fact that he thought that getting rid of Jahmyr Gibbs would be a good fucking idea.
And
You're
a bunch
an
of other
idiot.
stuff.
You're an idiot. 3 first-rounders and a second-rounder. You're an idiot, dude. Oh, my God. I love watching him run the ball. It is like football porn. I'm not even kidding you.
On Panay Sewell, I saw a video resurface from the 2021 draft. And when did they pick? Pretty early. They picked 7th.
7th or 8th, yeah.
And there was what was it? I think it was the team in front of them.
Took Jalen Waddle. Miami took Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, Miami took Jalen Waddle. And there was video of the Lions war room just
erupting,
went nuts,
hugging, high fiving.
We got him, dude. I'll tell you what, they built their culture around that exact player. We're gonna come out here and smash you in the mouth. At the same time, he's so finesse. Like, he's such an anomaly in my brain. Him, Trent Williams. You see them move, and you're like, that's not right. You're not supposed to be able to bend. Did you see that screen where he ran out there and just like decapitated this dude?
If it wasn't such a flashy thing for Offensive Player of the Year, he should be like in the running. But if it wasn't such a skill award, he is playing at such an elite level right now. He should be considered for Offensive Player of the Year. I'm not even kidding. Like, and I know no one watches it with the critical eye that we watch it with, and no one's going to take the time to break down the right tackle reps. But he is playing at a completely different level than any other tackle in the league right now. I put him above Trent Williams. I put him above any of those guys, which is, Booney said, the age, the youth, the athleticism, the physicality, the technical skills. There is not a more complete offensive lineman in the NFL right now than Penei Sewell.
Agreed. 200%. And I dare you to fight me on that.
And Pro Football Focus,
by the way,
he has not given up a sack all year, by the way.
Who drafted him in their fantasy?
I should have taken him. What Mackey, was Zadarius Smith hurt when they traded for him? Or did he get hurt during this week of practice?
Said he's not ready.
Good question.
He's not ready yet.
He was questionable.
With a pec.
I think part of it was, too, he was set to not get a bye week because this was supposed to be his bye week, and I wonder if hey, I'm not 100%. This was going to be my bye week. That's the only thing I can think
I just
of.
loved watching him coach everybody up on the sideline after being there for 12 hours. Like, he was like, no, you got to get in here. And the cops, okay.
Oh, do I?
Go crazy.
The fact that they can win that game, not use him and turn the ball over 5 times is
it's incredible. Absolutely
bad news
incredible.
for the rest of the NFC.
And in Houston. Oh, God.
I have another dumb football question, then I'll turn over to the audience here. Who do you think should be the front runner right now for NFL Coach of the Year?
I want to think about this. I really do.
We talked a little bit about this before we started the podcast. I wish it was comeback coach of the year because it's never truly an award for the best coach of the year, or else Belichick would have won it 10 years in a row. Andy Reid should be continuing to win it every year that they're drafting, going to the Super Bowl and going through there. Coach of the year, the true belief behind it is you took a team that no one thought was going to be any good. Right, no one believed in them. No one thought they would even going to make the playoffs, any of that, and you found a way to bring them to a double-digit win, first-round exit of the playoffs. That's what this award truly has turned into, and I wish they just rename it like comeback coach of the year or unexpected coach of the year. Because
with those parameters, there's 5 names then.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Hold on,
Washington.
God damn, you need to calm down today. You are all over the place.
I'm gonna pick all 5.
Let's see if you can guess all 5.
Ready? Washington, Atlanta, Arizona.
No. Atlanta, not a chance. You paid your quarterback $72 million. What are you talking about?
Agreed on Atlanta. Also, Atlanta just lost to the Saints. They're 6-4. Let's calm down on the Falcons.
Calm down there,
check
buddy.
down.
Check down on fourth down. Seen this movie before.
They still might make the playoffs. I'm not going to go crazy because a new coach came in and a team got revived and they lost. I'm not like everybody else that jumps in on like, oh my God, they lost a game. A lot of people lose. It's okay.
We're talking about coach of the year candidates here.
Yeah. They get into the playoffs, turn that shit around. I definitely could see that happening. Okay. That's the whole point. You just said the premise. The Chargers, Arizona.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
Those 2.
I think it's going to be Washington, though. Do you know why? Because he has a rookie quarterback. And everyone's like, dude, this shit was new to you and new to him. And y'all came in and did some sweet shit. Just going to be straight about it.
Also, there's a lot of people that didn't love that hire.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's a lot of people that are like, that's
what are you gonna
Dan
do?
Quinn?
Why, though? That made no sense.
I agree.
I knew he blew a 28-3 lead, and that's like the lead thing on his resume
thinks about,
in the Super Bowl. But he also coached that team and organization up to have a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl,
right?
Which is where a lot of teams aspire to be. So Dan Quinn, for sure. You mentioned Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, and that turnaround, and then Jonathan Gannon.
I think Jonathan Gannon's a real one, too. I think he's a legit contender for that, just because of the way that I think everyone's kind of wrote them off in the narrative about Kyler Murray, and all of a sudden people are like, all right, maybe I taking back my words. Dude, Marvin Harrison's showing up all the time. Like, dude, he is one of the sweetest route runners I've seen in a long time, and he makes it look fucking easy.
I mean, I honestly believe, and I know they're a good team, but what Matt LaFleur has been able to do with Jordan Love being hurt, switching his offense for a few weeks with Will Levis coming in, completely revamping everything. Malik Willis, sorry.
You got the wrong Tennessee
guy.
Bad quarterback.
Right? So like you revamp everything for 3 weeks with Malik Willis, and then Jordan Love comes back, and you're still balancing it out. I mean, he probably won't win it because Green Bay is supposed to be good and they're going on, right. But what he's actually done from a coaching's perspective this year has been borderline incredible.
Yeah, and 2 other names. Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, Tomlin for sure.
Always.
And Kevin O'Connell with... Yeah. I mean, you're 7-2 with Sam Darnold as your starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I think Vegas had him at like 6.5 at the beginning of the year, right? 6.5 wins.
They just hit the over yesterday then, I guess.
I'll tell you what, I think
halfway through.
If any of those other veteran guys should win it, I think it should be Mike, just because of the way that his defense has been playing and keeping them in games. Like, don't get me wrong, I love George Pickens and what he's doing, and the whole Najee Harris thing is working out. But there are times where Russ throws that ball still, and I'm like, oh, shit. Or he'll be running around with his yellow cleats, and I'm like, oh god, he's like looks 10 times slower than he really is.
Is that a flag? No.
But dude, Cameron Hayward showing up, fucking 2 sacks. Did you see him one arm the left guard? Like, he just walked him back with one arm, and I was like, dude, been there.
Well, did you hear the story? I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe when they were on Sunday Night Football, of how he sat down Cam Hayward and was kind of like had the talk with him of like, Mike Tomlin's like, it might be time. right? Like you're getting kind of old and,
Yeah.
and like might be time for you. And Tomlin admitted, he's like, that's my job. Like, that's why they pay me to have those conversations. And Hayward took it as a personal, like, fire up. And my
You want to
goodness,
fuck with me?
you want to play this game? And he is out there looking like he's 25
Dude,
again.
did you see him on that reverse, that double reverse? He almost chased it fucking down.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, dude.
Dude,
Woo pissed
some of those dudes,
him
some of those
off.
dudes are just look like they've built in the lab. And
But hey,
Hayward's-
once again-
Hayward's been one of them for a decade.
Once again, goes right back to the coaching. What a great coaching point to go in and not only, I'm sure Mike knew exactly what that was going to do. Like, number one, I'm low key kind of trying to drop something in your brain. We are getting old. I'm seeing a lot of gray hairs. But at the same time, it was probably like, hey, I know how to piss this guy off. Watch this.
Totally.
Cam, you ever think about retirement? Let's talk. You'd be like,
has a gold watch and a botch.
He also, Justin, they were winning some games with Justin Fields, and it wasn't
Oh, yeah.
terrible.
No, it wasn't.
And he decides sort of controversially, hey, we're going to make the switch to Russell Wilson, despite the fact that we're like 4-1 or whatever
he
the record
felt
was.
it. He knew it was coming.
And they have scored. So with Fields, they were scoring 20 points a game on offense. They're scoring 30 points a game with Russell Wilson. 100 more yards per game in the 3 weeks or whatever it's been with Russell Wilson. So like those are those decisions where if you're wrong, now you have completely screwed up the chemistry and the vibe in the locker room. But
go back before that, even the ball's on the table to say Kenny Pickett didn't work out. Right? We drafted him in the first round. We're getting rid of him. We're bringing in Fields and Russell Wilson, right? Not just, hey, let's pick one. No, we're taking them both, right? Fight to the death, right? We're going to have tryouts, right? The old Joker thing, snap the pool stick. But just the nuts to even do that and to put your nuts out on the line and ownership and the whole bit to have trust in you to do that and to have it be working out. When we did our coaching rankings before the year, I had him as number one for a reason. I think he has so much respect in this league. He's put in the time and the effort. Michael Parsons can't say shit to him,
Dude.
right? Like all that stuff.
But think about that. Could you imagine somebody on that defense saying anything about Mike Tomlin? Could you ever imagine them being like, I put in more work than That's my whole point. The respect factor. You would never cross that fucking line with Mike Tomlin because you would get smacked so hard by so many people on the way to work.
Alex Highsmith being out is going to hurt them, though.
That will hurt them
because
a little
the
bit.
defense since Highsmith has been back has been unblocked. Like
Well,
no one
because
can
look at
block
both
because
edges.
you can't pick just hey where's 90 right like 56 and 90 are out there. Pick your poison of who's
Oh,
going
and
where.
97 now?
Yeah,
Good
but
luck.
with Highsmith being out 2 to 3 weeks, I think I saw he had that ankle looked gross.
It didn't look good.
Oh, that hurt. But that's going to hurt them. But man, if they can keep playing George Pickens and Russell or the new DK Metcalf, if George Pickens stops RKOing DBs on interceptions, like
he turns around, picks a fight.
Dude, just like, oh, you threw an interception. You, me, parking lot, right? Like, that dude is nuts.
Dude, I was trying to... Did you see, not to go off topic, but did you see the Bills game where they ran the quarterback sneak and the defensive end for the Colts came in and just started punching Josh Allen in the side of the head? Here's what's funny. Josh is being carried by the pile and both his arms were tied and he's just like eating it like somebody get this guy off.
It was like Night of the Roxbury. Just bang, bang, bang.
Definitely getting a fine for that.
Oh, yeah, he's getting a FedEx.
Dude, he punched him
way,
like 3 times.
My
Jesus
favorite
Christ.
part, back to the Steelers for a second, my favorite part about their win, and it was a great game, 28-27.
Oh, so fun.
And Russ is lined up, and they're trying to draw. Well, it's 4th and 1
How
midfield.
could you? How
the Commanders are trying to figure out, are they actually going to run this play to try and win the game? Turns out they were just barking a hard count. And a rookie defensive lineman jumps across the line.
Newton.
So Russ, immediate fist pump, and they show Mike Tomlin, and he goes, got him, rips the headset off, game over.
Dude, he took it off so fast, and there's Russ
Got
over
him.
there like
Boom.
doing the Michael Jackson. I was like,
Dude,
what the fuck is this come
right
to?
before that play, we're sitting in my living room and I'm screaming at the TV, earmuffs, right? My wife's like, what are you talking about? I was like, that's something you have to tell these dumb defensive linemen of don't listen to anything that the quarterback says, right? Earmuffs. And she's like, oh, interesting. That makes sense. This dude jumps right off sides. And she was like, oh, earmuffs. I was like, yeah, it's literally, we practice this. You practice that scenario on Fridays, like, and pregame and walkthrough on Saturdays. End of game situation, right? You're trying to get them to jump off. They're trying to not jump off. It's every single week you walk through that. And the rookie, sorry, buddy. That one's
immediate
gonna sting.
hands to the helmet.
I've seen the video. There's a video on Twitter, Instagram, where like it's a high school game and the guy jumps off sides and the linebacker comes up behind him and just like
smacks
smacks the shit out of the back of him. I was waiting for Bobby Wagner to do that to him. I was waiting for Bobby Wagner just to come up behind him and just smack the shit out of him.
Idiot. Okay, dumb football questions from listeners here. Tony O wants to know what current NFL wide receiver or receivers would get an invite to the O-line room.
Oh, Anquan Bolden, right off the top of my head. Randy Moss.
Current.
Current. Listen, put your
Kittle
take your earmuffs off. No, he's tight end.
Tight end.
Jamar
Amon-Ra?
Chase. Jamar Chase for sure.
I was gonna say Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's definitely because he's just a gritty grinder, no drama type of guy. Right? Like,
Debo?
It can't be. No, he's too much drama.
Yeah,
Debo's too much.
Fucking long
yeah, Debo. Yeah. That's the thing. If you're coming into the O-line room, you got to check your shit at the door. Like, don't bring any of that nonsense in here. Like, leave your $1 million chain sitting at the door. I don't want to see it. Like, man, there's not a lot of receivers in my brain that are just jumping off that are like, oh yeah, that guy. Right? Come hang out with all of us, and we'll all have a lot of things to talk about.
I know. You know,
it's hard. I don't like really receivers. I just don't.
So it's Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I think Amon-Ra.
Justin Jefferson.
No, way too big of chains. I would say
too much gold and too many diamonds in his mouth.
I would say I would let Jamar Chase in. I think I bet you he is cool as shit, chill as fuck, like wouldn't care about anything.
You know who it is? And we don't know their names, but it's probably the 4th and 5th receiver on the team.
Yeah.
Right? Think of like Jarius Wright. Right? Like guys that are they're not the guys. They're special teamers and special situation type of receivers that are just making league minimum, right? They're making $2 million a year and they're just happy to be there like the rest of us, and they just want to pop in and grab a Pop-Tart out of the snack bin. Like, that's the receiver that's coming into the O-line room. Dude, not the top-knot one. Like, it is very much the 3rd or 4th receiver on the team that nobody really knows. Those are the guys that we would hang out with.
I'll give you a name out of the blue that I honestly think, and I've always been intrigued by this guy, is Amari Cooper. I think he is a very quiet receiver. I think you don't ever hear anything bad coming out of him. I think he does his job, shows up, does the work. I think I'd have easily been like, come on in, let's do this, let's hang out. But for the most part, dude, they talk about
what about
weird
Tyler
shit.
Lockett?
Tyler was cool.
He's been blocking for
also
10
like,
years.
I think he's a realtor too. I think he's the official realtor of the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, I'm not even kidding you. Like,
dude, that'd be such a good gig. If you know you're at a place forever, you're like, hey, when you get traded or when you move in second, I'll sell your house.
Yeah.
Just a total side gig. Total
Dude, he was
side
awesome
gig.
when I was
Instant commission on multi-million-dollar houses.
Right?
Was a beast.
Genius, actually. Let's see here.
That's a great question, by the way. Great question.
You can keep thinking on it. Let's go to, you know what? This is the 3rd time this guy always asks great questions. So we're going to highlight Monster Peanut Sparkle again.
Yes,
here.
Peanut Sparkle.
Sparkle.
So guys that are labeled as dirty players, like he mentions Vontaze Burfict as an example. Do they face any repercussions from their own teammates or coaches? No. Like, I guess, what's it like when you have Ndamukong Suh, for instance, if he's your teammate back in the day?
He was.
What's it like having a dirty, quote unquote?
He was my teammate back in the day.
What was that like?
See, you're kind of forced to go with it, right? Like,
yeah, you don't.
I think
really
the coaches, if anything,
choice.
shut it down. The coaches at times will be like, "Hey," they'll make a point of it, like, "Hey, see what this cost us? 15 yards."
That's exactly. It's
was
like
it at Nebraska or in the NFL or both?
It was at Nebraska.
Yeah.
So, but
it always circles back to you're hurting the team.
Right.
Like, and it's never a personal attack. It's never, hey, don't do that shit. It makes us look bad. It always comes to the bottom line, which is this is not helping us win football games. Right. And that's where it ends with, that's where it begins with is, hey, love the aggression, love that you're setting the attitude, but we can't hurt our football team. Right? We can't put ourselves in this position. And at the end of the day, it hurts your pocketbook. Like those are big fines. Like those are not small baby fines.
No, and honestly, as a teammate, you can't really go at anybody because what are you going to be like? Hey, don't stop fighting out there.
Okay, I got one Sue story from college. We're playing. I think it was either Texas Tech or Iowa State my senior year. I'm redshirting. And Sue gets a bad 15-yard personal foul, right? Like bad. Like pushed a guy over a pile late or threw a punch or something. I don't remember. Comes off on the sideline. He sits down. Carl Pelini, Bo Pelini's brother, was the defensive line coach. And Bo comes over and like they're all on the bench, right? And he's like, Bo, Carl, get him the fuck out. He's hurting the team. I don't want him out there. This is bullshit. Bruh, 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 bruh. And Carl turns around. I'll never forget it. As calmly as can be and goes, I need him, and just turned back around. And Bo was like, fuck, and just walked away. And sure enough, like he walked back out on the field. And that was the moment where I was like, if you're good enough, you can get away with a lot of shit.
You can step on a guy's face.
You're good enough. You will always find a home. There will always be someone that will overlook all the nonsense as long as you are a good enough player.
Yeah. And
on there, I need him. It was unbelievable.
It's the truth, dude, honestly. And as a player, I'm not going to get, I mean, whatever. This dude's got no fight. It is what it is. Going to get over it. But I will say this. If you're a dirty player, the team you're about to play will definitely know that you're a dirty player because it is talked about amongst players. The coaches bring it up. Anytime we've played someone like that, they've been...
I don't think there's a dirty player in the NFL right now.
Not right now. There's not. No.
It's different. The game is so different. You can't headhunt, right? You can't... There's too many cameras everywhere all the time.
I take that back. Brian Branch,
but
maybe...
He's not a dirty player. He's playing within the rules.
Kirby
like
Joseph,
when I say dirty player, I'm thinking post whistle, like after the play nonsense, or like intentionally trying to hurt another player outside of the rules, like the stomping on the face or ripping a face mask. Like
no, we haven't seen that in a while.
That's what I mean. Like I think that era of player isn't really around anymore because of all the rules that have been put in place all the way from college on. Of, hey, you get high hits and hard, you're getting ejected in college, right? Targeting, see ya. You're gone for the game. If it's in the second half, you're missing the first half of the next
Dirty
game.
Now is like if you have 2 horse collar tackles in the season.
Or it's like, well, I can't hit him high, so you blew out this guy's knee. Oh, you're a dirty player. It's like that's kind of what they've been forced to do in some of these situations by the confines of the rules. And so I don't see that as a dirty player.
Dude, I saw a video, man. My football highlight algorithm is on fire this week. I saw a video. You guys remember, well, we were all too young, but Jack Tatum from the Raiders from the 70s or the 80s. Just
the
like
safety?
Legendarily dirty player, but he was a legendary player. And there's a video, Earl Campbell, the big Houston Oilers running back from like the early 80s, mid 80s, I think early-ish 80s. And he's running through, it's like around to the right. And the NFL Films camera has kind of a behind the safety view, and Jack Tatum comes up, fills the hole right at the goal line, and Tatum launches himself up, torpedoes himself under the chin, which at the time was not illegal.
Right.
Torpedoes his body, boom, helmet under the chin. And Earl Campbell, who was like 250 pounds, right, with these huge shoulder pads, went into a fencing position, but held onto the ball as he like was half unconscious, rolling into the end zone.
Different football,
and
man.
Teammates come over and just like pat him on the head, get him back up off the ground, right? And
dust him off.
They try. Then they just come back and try the extra point. Totally different era, man.
I mean, I remember watching Bill Romanowski. Like I remember, like
he was one of the dirtiest,
spitting in dudes' faces. Like I remember the Boz, like the Boz from Oklahoma.
Yeah,
like I remember that era of dirty college football. It was kind of the thing.
Albert Hainsworth.
Yes, like
stepped
it was
on
kind
Andre
of,
Garrard. Kicked
like
him.
it was kind of like a rite of passage that you were the bad boy. You were the dirty. Every team had that guy, and I just don't think with the and it's a good thing it's out of the league. Guys were getting hurt. It was causing a lot of issues. Like again, you want football to be violent in the proper way, and I do think we're too far on the pendulum of not violent. But I don't. If you said right now who's the dirtiest player in the NFL, I don't really have a name that is just coming to the top of my head.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I think the league's done such a great job that they've kind of eliminated that from all of football because you really don't see any of that stuff happening anywhere anymore. Like, think about it. Back when we were coming out, you're right.
Fines, suspensions.
Everybody had a bad boy on the team, and it was like, yeah, that's our bad boy. He's going to go fuck everybody up. And now it's like, now we don't have that anymore. Like, nobody does. Like, football's really been like, hey, it's violent enough. We don't need you guys swinging on each other.
They learned the best way to take us out of that is take us off the field.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Nobody wants to miss a game. You only get 12 games a year in college. You get 17 in the NFL. Like, no one wants to be suspended and miss an opportunity to play on a Saturday or Sunday. So you kind of just train yourself out of that mode.
Jay Norman 8813 says, dumb football question. When someone gets flagged for ineligible man downfield, whose fault is that typically? Is that always the offensive lineman's fault? Or is it ever someone else's fault for developing a play too slowly?
It could be that. It's nobody's real fault because the play is supposed to be designed to happen quickly, but at times in real time, something will happen, right? Like the receiver doesn't make a clean break. He's not open right away, so at times they have to hold, they'll pat. It kind of irritates me that they call it as much as they do because what it does is they're saying that it affects the linebackers. When they see the offensive lineman running up to them, they're normally thinking this is a run because he's not allowed to cross the line unless it is. So like when I was coming out, you could take 4 steps up to a linebacker. You could like run all the way up to him. You couldn't go past that. And so then they started slowly taking that away. I think it's kind of a stupid fucking rule because it doesn't really influence as much as you think it does when it happens that quickly. Right? Like normally we just need the linebacker to bounce once and it's over. Like you're done. I'm just going to throw the slant regardless. I see this massive hole open.
But that was the point of the whole defensive coordinator's bitching about it.
Right. It's just pulling people up, creating bigger lanes.
It was doing too much on the defensive side. And so, as far as whose fault it is, it's the play caller's fault for calling an RPO. Right. Like ultimately it comes down to that because you're telling your offensive lineman, and we've been in these meetings and it's maddening. You're in these meetings and they're like, you're blocking for the run. Okay, well, if I'm uncovered and it's inside zone, my coaching point is take 1 step, check my gap, and then go get on the linebacker, right? And so if I take 1 step and I go run up on the linebacker and he hands it, yay. If I don't and he throws it and now I'm on the linebacker and now it's my fault, like you literally just spin yourself into a circle and they're like, well, throttle down. Just throttle down for when it's an RPO. Okay, so then I'm going to throttle down and that linebacker's going to shoot the gap and now you handed it and he kills the running back. I'm like, whoa, why didn't you go get on the linebacker? Like it's just a maddening conversation to have. And I think that's why this year there's been less RPOs than there has been the last 5 years because you can't tell your offensive line to do both. It's impossible to ask them to do both because the last 3 years, when Miami was really cooking, when McDaniels first got there, their RPO game was out of this world. Yeah. But a lot of it was because the offensive linemen were touching the linebackers at 3-4 yards, and then here comes Jalen Waddle behind him, and Tua's just doink, and they never even knew the ball was thrown, right? So I understood why they did it, and it is, but I do think they need to expand it maybe 1 more yard because a yard is just, it's too much of it's just, you can't do anything in a yard.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see here. I got one more for you guys. 28 Dead Poet says, what's it like in the film room after a game when you're watching an explosive play opportunity that's derailed by one guy with a missed assignment or brain fart?
Happens all the time. You get used to it quickly, very quickly. If you ever really notice, there's always one guy that fucks up every play. So over time, you try to never be that guy. You're just like, hey, listen, as long as I'm not ever that one guy that fucked up the play, I'm good. But, dude, we've seen so many. How about the wide open passes that just a yard or two incomplete? You're like, hurts. It hurts real bad. And the coaches will bring it up. They'll be like, this one sucks. This stings a little. And you're like, yes, it does. But at the same time, you have to move on. And I've seen, critical times, 2 minutes at the end of the game, guy gives up a sack fumble. I think in that moment, we all know that we didn't want that to happen. Even the coaches are like, we know the guy's trying his ass off. He did something wrong in the moment. Let's just fix it and move on. Like, the more you harp on things like that, the more in our minds we're like, let it go. Okay, we got it. He fucked up.
But I do think that there's a difference between, like, the ball didn't bounce our way and a bloating missed assignment.
Well, that's different. And
right? Like it bounced off his hands. It didn't, like, the ball was a little high, like, heat of the moment, that shit happens. But if it's Super Bowl, you didn't squeeze on Chris Jones, right? You didn't squeeze San Francisco. You didn't squeeze on Chris Jones. You left this guy unblocked. He ran up the field and ruined your chance of winning a Super Bowl. Totally different conversation, right? When it's a mental error, that falls back on you. Either didn't prepare well enough, you panicked in the moment. We can't do that shit. This is the professional NFL, right? You're a professional, figure that out. Totally different conversation versus the like, hey, this guy fumbled the football. It happens. Like, unfortunately, it happened in this moment. Does he know he didn't want to fumble the football, right? It happens. So there's levels to the, hey, it's okay versus the, this is bullshit, right? Like, there's definitely some variables that go into that.
Dude, like, I'll be honest. There was a time when I was in Arizona, we were playing.
Unless you miss a kick, and then I'm just going to stab you because that's your only job.
With my cleat.
We were in Arizona, and they shifted to an odd, and I swear to God, me and Valdir could not see the outside linebacker, and so we were supposed to fan, and so I had set back, and I only saw one guy coming, so Jared would kind of touched him with one hand, and I was like, well, we must be good. I looked back in, and in that moment, a tiny little dude slipped right outside and destroyed Carson. We ended up losing the game. And it was a mental error on me. And that was one of the one times I was like, dude, I'm gonna get murdered. And he did. They in front of everybody. They'll just open slice you. There was another time in Arizona, and to this day, I don't know if anyone really knows whose fault it was, but the mic ran through on a 4th and 1, and we actually handed it to Adrian, and we got stopped, and we ended up losing that game too. And we were running the clock out. And it was the same thing. Like, it was somebody had a mental error. One of you three fucked this up. So one of you three is about to get filleted open in front of the entire team. So get ready. Like, I remember sitting on the plane like, this is bad. This is going to be so bad. And I remember that all three of us were sitting there like, how do we let the fucking mic run through? How does the mic run through on 4th and 1? And in that moment, all you can say is, I'm human. I am human. I am sorry. And they don't care. They just, dude,
good
BA,
for you.
I remember BA was holding a VHS and was like, I want you to eat the fucking tape, and like handed it over. And I remember looking at Q and I go, is he being for real? Q's like, he's for real. And I grabbed the tape. The whole team's looking at us like, fucking eat it now. And I was like, I'll take some. Oh, it's so plastic.
So good.
Tastes like the Christmas trees of Christmas. Oh God.
Oh man.
Anyway,
so don't fuck up. Basically,
you
won't get lit up.
Listen, you can try hard and fail. You just can't fuck up. You can't.
There's a difference.
There's a big difference. We draw a hard line in this O-line room.
Yeah.
Amazing. Keep sending us, like we say every week, your dumb football questions. We'll get to as many as we can, and every single week on the show here. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button and the like button on the O-Line Committee YouTube channel. All right, boys. Nice little recap of another week in the National Football League here. Film breakdowns coming this week too. We'll put it. I think Steelers might have to be on the docket for a film breakdown.
They're ready. They deserve
Let's go.
it.
Let's go.
They are formidable, a formidable football team. All right, for Jay, for Alex, I'm Phil. We'll see you next time on the O-Line Committee.